All right, what's up? Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and we are here, and I wanted to do another tutorial about the Excel helper, which will be coming with Glory Days College Football to be released on PDF. More than likely this Friday, Saturday at the latest. So it is, game's ready to go, and just a matter of getting all the supplies to Joe at the website, and then once they're uploaded, game will be for sale. So a couple of things I wanted to touch on since the tutorial I did a few days ago. Basically, I've made some improvements to the helper and added a separate tab for visitor stat helper and home stat helper. And these tabs now will pull in information from different tabs on the helper to make it a lot easier to compile stats. So I added a couple of new go to and get features to pull this information in. So let's just go really quickly through what you will want to do when you use the Excel helper. And another thing, and a big shout out to a friend of the channel, Eric Chavez, for this. Google Drive has a free program if you do not have Excel. Like, I know Excel now is subscription, and this version is one that I've had on a previous computer that I transferred over before they went to full subscription services for Google, or for Excel, sorry. So if you do not own Excel, you can still use the Excel helper. You will go into Google Drive and get their free Excel program, and it will open this so that basically anybody will be able to use this whether you have Excel or not, which again, I actually did not know that it was straight across compatible, and I probably should have, but regardless it is. So this will be something that's available for everybody to use, and it definitely makes playing the game and compiling stats a ton easier. So let's go through what you will need to do on the helper now in order to, again, get the most out of it. So on this first tab, the play-by-play tab, and again, I want to continue to emphasize the main way this game is designed to be played is in the hybrid mode, which is a combination of play-by-play and quick sim. The quick sim takes place on the first portion of the drive, and then once the drive enters plus territory or your opponent's territory and is successful, in other words, you do not have to kick the ball away, then you will jump into play-by-play mode to finish the drive in the plus territory or even down in the red zone area, etc. So regardless of what mode you're playing, you're always going to want to fill this sheet in, because different tabs or different sheets on this helper will pull data from this tab itself. So you're always going to want to add your teams here, and that of course populates these areas here. In this section here, the line control, it's going to be adjusted for release. The line control, and you can see here, the line control ranges are on the main drive chart. So rather than have you fill in these numbers across here on the score sheet, what I'm going to do is just put in a calculation that will give you the line to use. So here, UConn, for example, on run plays, because Michigan's defense is very strong, and of course UConn 1-11 had a terrible season in 2021. So on run plays, they will use the -8 column here, and pass plays -9. So I'm going to revise this a little bit on final release, so it just enables you to enter the run offense and pass, or run offense, pass offense, run defense, pass defense numbers here, and then it will give you the difference, which is the line you will use in the play-by-play mode. So this part will still change by release in a week, but everything else that you're going to see on these sheets will be the same. So next thing you'll want to do after you enter the teams is here you will want to enter the names, and again this is taken off of the cards, and we'll just throw Michigan up here since they're going to get the second half kickoff. So rushers, you'll enter them in order. Quarterback, you'll enter down in this area right here under passing. And then, of course, receivers you will fill in finally here. And do this for both teams. And really, once you do that, this will transfer names over to the stat helpers. You can see here for UConn, their rushers, their quarterback here, and all their receivers are pulled over into this if they have a reception. And also, you would enter touchdowns, and that comes on the simulated portion of the drive. And this comes into play if you're using full quick play, and I also would recommend, even in hybrid or play-by-play mode, entering the touchdowns here, because it takes them over to the final stat helper tab. And again, it's just easier to get all the data in one place. So the home stat helper, again, all the Michigan runners, Michigan receivers, who has scored touchdowns thus far, and the quarterback, as well as complete passing statistics, which is both play-by-play and hybrid combined. And you'll see here on Krajewski for UConn, he's 7 for 11. Most of these have come off of the drive sim chart, because they really have not. They've only been in play-by-play mode once, and when they were in play-by-play mode, he threw one pass here, which was a 4-yard touchdown pass to Haskins. I'm sorry, not Haskins, Morrisseau here. So that's why you'll see different numbers here. You know, here he's 1 for 3 in play-by-play mode, and then you add the drive sim numbers. And drive sim numbers, Haskins, that rate is kept here for UConn. And then visitor stat helper, and this actually should be 1 to 13 or 7 for 13, sorry. So I'm still going through and making sure I've accounted for everything, so there's still a couple of tweaks in terms of making sure the correct data comes into this tab. And I'll look at that later. You can see here on Michigan's, I've already done this on Michigan's play-by-play. I'm sorry, Krajewski, that is right. So Krajewski was 1 for 1. McNamara was 1 for 3 in play-by-play mode. And then drive sim, McNamara here is 8 for 5. So that's going to make him 6 for 11 overall, and that's what shows up here in the final stat tab. So disregard that. Everything is working as it should. So let's finish going through here. When you get to the drive sim portion again, you will fill in the teams here, and then that populates the names under the in the drive columns, and over here under rushing and passing breakdowns for visitor and home. You will then populate the drive offense and defensive ratings, which are indicated here. On this part of the card in UConn, you see here the 2 and the 3, and then that will be, you'll get an adjusted number, and this is the number that you'll use for the drive. So for UConn in this example, all of their simulated portions of the drive in hybrid mode, or the first half of quick play mode, will take place in the -10 column, meaning it's extremely hard for them to generate a drive. And Michigan's will take place in the +9 column, which basically means it's extremely hard for UConn to stop them, which is pretty much as it would be. And we're probably going to get into the fourth quarter of this game, and we'll then go into the optional substitutes mode, where Michigan's offense and defensive drive ratings will be reduced by 3, which again simulates backups, second, third string players, and getting some PT. So it's going to make it a little bit more friendly for UConn. So beyond that, what you will also enter here is the percentage the teams run the ball. And again, going off Michigan's card, they're 59% run. Their yards per carry, which are down on the bottom of the card, 5.2. And then in this column, the defenses, the opponent's defensive run adjustment goes there. And UConn, actually, you see, is a plus 0.1 to their rushing totals. So that basically will make it so Michigan averages in the simulated portion 5.3 yards a carry against UConn. And you see UConn 48%, 3.2. They were terrible. Regardless, Michigan makes them worse, dropping that down to 2.4. And then you'll also roll a 1d6, and you'll see here on the card where McNamara 1 through 6, there are different percentage completed numbers which will apply to that specific game. So you can roll a 1 and have be a little bit off. 3 or 4, 3 and 4 I should say, are right around where his average is for the season. And then 5 and 6 simulate the quarterback being a little bit hotter for that game. So that's how those work, and basically that's the information that you will enter here. Everything else is going to be pulled in from what you enter in the drive boxes over here. And again, here you will also have to enter the individual results of each simulated portion of the drive. And if you're playing quick play, part 1 here, part 2 over here. So it's basically it. And then on the Excel helper page, you can see that this sheet pulls in what you entered on the drive sim in terms of yards per carry and percentage completion, percentage run versus pass, etc. And it does that for both home and visitor. And the only things you'll have to enter on this page, I digress. Big plays, whenever you do have a big play, you see Michigan had one here on their second drive. So here, rather than enter plays, you just enter a BP, and that big play happened to be a 25-yard run by Haskins, and you just enter 1 carry, Haskins, to show who got the big play and the number of yards. And you would continue, so if there was 4 more big play runs in the first half, this would be a 5. You'd enter the name of each ball carrier and the yardage. And that's important because when you get to the final stat helper page, you can see here it pulled in Haskins' big play run, and you will need to add that separately to the stats that are generated for him just based on the simulated portion of the drive. So let's go over our stats thus far. It's at halftime, and Michigan, as expected, has raced out to a huge lead. They're up 35-7 at the half. And one other thing too, I kind of glossed over, but this tab here this area here in the play-by-play sheet, this pulls in all the total team yardage from the other tabs, meaning it takes play-by-play yardage and the drive sim yardage and populates them here. So let's start here. First half, Michigan was 5 for 5 on drives and touchdowns. UConn had to punt 4 times. They did manage a touchdown in the second quarter, and they were helped considerably there by an event rolling a 99, and an event on the event chart gave them a bonus for the play-by-play portion of the drive, which they were able to get into, and it took them into the end zone. And basically that event enabled them to take all of their results from the 2-star column, run, short pass, long pass, etc., and that enabled them to score. So that's probably the only reason they have a touchdown at this point. But so you'll see it's been dominating. Michigan has ran the ball 28 times and passed it 11. A total of 343 yards in the first half, over 39 plays. UConn balanced, but again, not balanced very well. 41 yards rushing on 11 carries, and a portion of that due mainly to their own big play, which actually came in play-by-play mode here. You see Mensa had a 16-yard run in the play-by-play portion based off a big play, and that came off that scoring drive that was assisted by the event rolled, or the 99 rolled on the event chart. So that's why they're averaging a little bit better than what you see here in the drive sim, which would only be 2.4 with Michigan's adjustment. So that's how that all works, and this pulls that all in together so you get complete and balanced stats. They've got 54 yards passing on 11 attempts, so a total of 22 plays, 95 yards. UConn getting dominated up front. Michigan again 343 and almost 200 yards rushing at this point, 146 passing. And when we go to the individual tabs, You see here Carter for UConn, 4 carries, 12 yards. Mensah, again, assisted by that big play run, 4 for 23. Krajewski, 3 for 6. And then receiving, Marion Rose, Claire C.S., Turner, Carter, Nemensky, and of course Massaro all had a single reception. And Krajewski is 7 for 11, 54 yards, and a touchdown. And you'll see, and we'll show you when we do the stats at the end of the game how we balance the stats again with what is simulated versus what actually occurred in play-by-play mode. So jumping over to Michigan, again we have the big play run by Haskins. So Haskins on pace for a 200-yard game. He's got 15 carries for 109 yards. And again, that's play-by-play and simulated stats combined. Corum is 8 for 70, McNamara 2 for 3, Edwards 1 for 5, McCarthy 2 for 10. And then the receivers, UConn, selling out to stop that run. They've been victimized. Every one of Michigan's passes have been for a fairly significant gain. So Johnson, Wilson, both 30 yards on one catch. Ali, 26. San Ristel, 28, and Edwards, 28, and Haskins, who has a touchdown reception, 1 for 4, and that came in play-by-play mode. So that is basically it, and you'll see as we go through, we're going to go ahead and play the second half now of this game. So Michigan has a 10 possession per game team, UConn 11. And that makes 21 divided by 2, 10.5 rounded down. So each team gets 10 possessions. So in the second half, Michigan will have 3 in the third quarter, 2 in the fourth. UConn will be flipped, 2 here, 3 here. So let's go. UConn set to kick it off to the Wolverines and hoping to avoid a complete embarrassment. I guess it's already there, but they'll see if they can do a little bit better in the second half. All right, 60 on the kickoff again, using the black die. Our 2 die here, no penalty on the kickoff. And then the 1 will come into play if there is a return. All right, so 60 on the kickoff, and that's going to come down at the 5-yard line for the Wolverines. 1 on the return, and Michigan on the return is a D as well, so not very good on the kick return. So 1D is going to be a 20-yard gain. They're going to start at the 25-yard line, where they would have if it was a touchback. So here we're going to mark 25 as a start. And then we roll off the drive chart. And I've got that off screen, but it's down here. I will show you on this first drive so you get an idea. All right, so 15. And this is as close as Michigan has come to having to punt the entire game. So here we go. Again, it's 0 to 9 as a punt is all. That's the only hope UConn has. They just missed that 15. That is going to be a successful drive. It's at the 25-yard line. So we look in the 21 to 35 column here. Our roll of 7. 6 plays, 41 yards. So you're going to enter that into the score sheet. 6 plays, 41 yards. And then adjust, of course, on the game board here. And that's going to take it down to the UConn 34. And then finally, the last thing we do, no penalties in this portion of the drive, even though it's doubles. Again, if you're playing quick play, this would cause a penalty if you're using that optional rule, but not in hybrid. Only penalties that occur in hybrid come in the play-by-play portion. So you do look at these 2D6s, however, to see what the down and distance situation is going to be for the Wolverines. UConn's defense, again, not very good. They're a 3. And a 12, it's going to be 3rd and 1. So third down situation for UConn here, but again, odds of them stopping the Wolverines are pretty slim with the Michigan's ground game and their weaknesses up front. All right, so we're going to jump into play-by-play mode now. Flip a tab. And again, you see that Michigan takes all their run results on the 8 column on the drive chart, and we'll show you that. Now, 66, that actually is good. So 3, it's going to be a run. So what you're going to look for on the Michigan card here, it's 3rd down, 1 to 2. 0 to 7 is a run. Now, UConn And the final cards will be color-coded to help with this too. UConn is playing the run in this situation, so they would have gotten an advantage. However, 66, even on the +8 row up here, is going to be a defensive ++ result. If it had been here, the fact that UConn was sitting on the run would have kicked it to this column. And again, that's explained in detail in the rule book. So Michigan is going to go off UConn's defensive 2 card. So you look at the 9, and UConn has a stuff. So they're actually going to stop the Wolverines here. What you'll do then, once you do get a stuff result, and first of all, we have to determine the ball carrier, I should say that. 15, Corum is a 17, so anything between 12 and 17, Corum is a ball carrier. So Corum is going to get the carry, and you can mark that here. And again, it's going to be a stuff, so you'll enter it in that column there. And 3, looking at the Michigan card for stuff, 3 is going to be -2, so Corum is hitting the hole. It's going to be 4th and 3 from the 37. And UConn, their best defensive moment of the game thus far. So you'll enter that -3, and you can see it adjusts Corum's run totals, also adjusts the rushing numbers up here. And of course, that even carries over to the home stat helper here, which again takes that into account, and we'll come back and have to adjust that further at the end of the game to take the simulated portion in. But just to give you an idea of how everything plays out and ties together in the helper. All right, so we've got 4th and 3 now from the 37, and Michigan is going to make it a 54-yard field goal, and Michigan, their max is 52. So normally that's going to be a 0 to 97 because they were perfect. However, at the max, you're going to take -10 for each yard past 52 that the attempt comes from. So this is going to be a 54-yard attempt, which makes it 0 to 77. And we will roll that 0 to 77. Kick is up, and it is no good. So UConn has held. And what you're going to do, final to close this drive out on the drive chart, is put missed field goal. And UConn, celebration on their sidelines. They're going to take over at their own 37, first stop of the game. And it is going to be a first down there. Now, that does not change the fact that it's still going to be highly unlikely that they get anything going against Michigan's defense, but you never know. And on the drive chart, they have to get 67. Anything between 67 and 83 will be good for UConn. And 65, they just miss it. You see here they're going to have to punt once again. So you look at the 19 on the punt chart here. And 19 is going to be a 4-play, 14-yard drive. So they're going to get it up to the Michigan 49-yard line. So you'll enter 4 plays, 14 yards, and they are definitely going to punt here and try and pin the Wolverines deep. So that is 1 drive for each team here in the third quarter. UConn brings the punt team in. And UConn punting is a D. Michigan's punt return is a C. All right, no penalty and 1 on the punt, and that is going to be 1D, a 40-yard punt, so that's down to the 9. So good result there for UConn. And 2C on the punt return. 2C on the punt return is going to be no return. And again, just as a reminder, you will get team results here, at which point you would go to the team-specific kickoff or punt return, interception return, whatever. And that's, again, just to add a little bit more variety and flavor versus standard numbers. So Michigan is going to take over there for their second drive of the third quarter at the 9-yard line. All right, simulated portion of the drive. And once again, anything above 9 is going to be good, and that is a comfortably good drive for the Wolverines. So here you look into 0 to 20 since they were pinned back to the 9, a roll of 10. That is going to be 7 plays, 55 yards. So Michigan just grinding the yards out. And their 7 plays, 55. And that takes it to the UConn 36. In our down and distance situation, a 5 is rolled there. So a 5 and a 3 defense, it's going to be 2nd and 6 for the Wolverines. And we jump back into play-by-play mode. All right, 2nd down and 6, and 2nd down, a 2. That's going to be a running play. Michigan has been extremely heavy running the ball. A 12, that's going to be in the plus column. The ball carrier 10 is Haskins, and a roll of 4 on the plus is going to be an 8-yard gain. So that's Haskins' 10th carry in play-by-play mode, 8 yards, and that's going to be good enough for a 1st down to the 28-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Wolverines there. McNamara brings the Wolverines up, and we're going to have a possible penalty here. So we'll do the play, and then I'll roll the penalty dice after that. And I missed a penalty on the last drive, too. I did realize that, but that's okay. All right, so it's going to be 4 on 1st down. That's going to be another run play, and 44 on our +8 on the drive chart. A 44 is going to be an offensive 1-star column result. So if there is a penalty, for sure, UConn's going to take it. This is about as bad a result as they can get there. It is going to be a 3-yard gain, and the ball carrier once again is going to be Haskins. Let's roll for the penalty first, though. And 1 to 7, it's a penalty, and 8, no penalty on the Wolverines, so they are going to get the result. It's going to be a 3-yard run for Haskins, and it's going to make it 2nd and 7. All right, 69 yards on 11 carries, and again, that is just in play-by-play mode, doesn't take into account the simulated portion. 2nd down and 7 for the Wolverines, and McNamara's got the signal. Wolverines under center in I formation, and 2nd down, it's going to be another run play, and 14, this time it's going to be Corum as the ball carrier. And 32 on the row of 8 on the trench control chart is going to be a 2-star, and again, Michigan just dominating up front. So roll of 3, 2-star run, and shockingly, that is going to be the worst result there, so that's only a 3-yard gain as well. So that's going to make it a 3rd down and 4, and territory that Michigan is not used to being in at this point in the game. 3-yard gain for Corum. All right, 3rd and 4, so we're going here in the 3rd and 3 to 5 column on the play calling chart, and that's going to be a short pass by McNamara. 65, not good on the roll, and again, as a reminder here, 6 is the roll for short pass trench control, and 65 on the 6th row, that is going to be defensive plus. So UConn has got a chance for another stop. We'll bring in their card, and the roll is a 3, roll of 3. Now that is an 8-yard gain, but possible interception as well. So first we're going to do that. UConn, and again, how turnovers work. No adjustment to Michigan's interception rate. Michigan's interception rate is 1 to 8. So we'll set this aside because that's who caught the pass. And the receiver there is going to be Johnson if UConn does not pick it off. So 8 or less, it's going to be a pick. And it is picked off by UConn. So that's going to be picked off, 8-yard gain. Going to be picked off at the 14-yard line by the Huskies, and a big play there. So what we're going to do here is, obviously that is going to count as an incompletion, and we will give McNamara a pick here. So that is intercepted, and now we're going to go to the return. And for the return, just a 1D10, and again, there is a chart here on the game field board that has generic return results, and this was tweaked for final result as well, but also a couple of team specific. So the return for UConn, and 7, and it's going to be down right there. So intercepted at the 14-yard line, and UConn has come through and stopped the Wolverines twice. So we will close this drive out with an INT. So UConn playing some defense in the second half. And each team will get one more possession here in the third quarter, and no score yet as UConn takes over on their own 14. So Randy Edsall, with some inspirational words at halftime, at least has the defense playing much better than they did in the first half when they were run through like a sieve for 5 touchdowns. But still getting that offense going. And again, it's got to be 67 or better, 88. And 88 is going to be a possible fumble. So here's how that works. All right, so get this out of the way. 88. And I did not need to roll that. All right, so 88, and again, minus 10. 88 is a possible fumble. So you will then look at the 1D20. Which is a 10, and go to the fumble yards. So this is 3 plays, 5 yards on the drive, and you see the K there. Unfortunately for the Huskies, if they do not cough the ball up, they're going to kick it. So not good news either way as their offense continues to struggle. Now we got to roll for the fumble itself. And UConn 1-7, and Michigan no adjustment. So 7 or less, it's going to be turned over there, and 5. And Michigan comes right back and takes the ball away from the Huskies. Turnover for turnover, and each team was clean coming into the second half. Not the case now, as this is the final drive of the third quarter. And the way this works, because it occurs in UConn territory, you jump right into play-by-play mode. So Michigan 1st and 10 at the 19-yard line. And 1, they're sticking to the ball, or sticking on the ground, and again, possible penalty there. So this will be a big play 1 with 9, big play 1 with Haskins as the ball carrier. So what we will do first is roll for the potential big play. And again, this column right here, Haskins. And 1, that is going to be 28 yards, which is more than enough to get into the end zone. So that will be a touchdown, unless, let's see if there's a penalty. Is 1-7, and there is indeed a penalty on Michigan. So UConn, fortunate. And then once you do determine there's a penalty, roll it off this chart here. 17 is a holding call. It's going to push it back to the 29-yard line, so that touchdown run is negated. UConn dodging a bullet. First down once again after Haskins' long touchdown run is nullified, and we're going to have another potential penalty. And this time, I rolled the wrong freaking dice. Again, sticking to the ground game. So 11, that's going to be once again +2, and a roll of 8, that's going to be a 9-yard gain, but let's see again if there is a penalty. 1-7, and another penalty, and this one 17, and that is going to be another holding call. So Michigan self-destructing against an overmatched UConn team. And when you get in this type of situation, there is an optional rule. You can go to the 3rd and long chart, because more realistically you're going to get a pass here. Michigan is dominating the game. It's 1st down and 30. They're just going to stick on their normal chart, and this does end up being a short pass anyway. So 16, that's going to be good for the Wolverines, and a 16 on the 6th column or 6th row is going to be offense +2, roll of 0, and that is a big play 2 for the Wolverines. So unable to get out of their own way is UConn. They forced 2 penalties and are still going to get victimized by the big play. So 20, the big play is going to go to Haskins. And you will then roll the 1d10 on the big play 2 short pass. And there is some damage in there. Michigan has been shredding their secondary all day. 4, that's going to be a 33-yard gain. So that is all the way down to the 6-yard line, and it was 1st and 30. It is now 1st and 10. So again, how you indicate that, because we're in play-by-play mode, basically you will give Haskins, and he's caught both passes in play-by-play mode. So his second reception, 2 for 37 now, and you can see here that adjusts the completion up here for McNamara, which again carries over to the home stat helper. So first and goal from the 6 for the Wolverines as we come down to the close of the third quarter. And 9, that is going to be a long pass on first down. Now, obviously, you're not going to have a long pass here, and I've explained it before, but will again. If this comes up, it's harder to complete a long pass. So if this comes up in the red zone, I leave it. And reason being, and again, this comes from, being a coach in the game for 30 plus years at high school level, is at that portion of the field is condensed. So even a short pass is going to be harder to complete because the secondary and linebackers do not have to cover as much territory. So that condenses the field vertically. So we leave that to make it simulated harder to complete a pass in that area of the field. So that is why that is left the same way. So again, looking at the 6th column here, and our roll is 42 on the 2D6. 42 still going to be a offensive +1 star. So 5 on the long pass +1. That's going to be a 21-yard gain. That is a touchdown, and the recipient of that touchdown is 7, and that's going to go to Ali. So Michigan closes out the third quarter in good style. Ali with the 7-yard touchdown grab. And again, there you'll come up and add another touchdown. And then also on the simulated drive chart, you would put Ali in down here for Michigan. Receiving touchdowns go under passing, of course, and rushing touchdowns go under rushing. So that will all carry over. Michigan has gotten on the board as the third quarter comes to a close, and they will try the extra point. No penalty on the PAT. It is up and good, and that is the third quarter, and Michigan has extended its lead to 42-7, a kind of moral victory, I guess, for UConn, since they didn't give up 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. So going into the fourth, Michigan will leave its starters in for one of their 2 drives and will go into backup mode because game's pretty much salted now, but I will show you how backup mode works. All right, we are ready to kick off. Michigan tees it up, and again, they are a B on kickoffs, and 6B, that is going to be a touchback. UConn takes over on the 25-yard line. And again, UConn will get 3 drives here in this fourth quarter. And looking for some success, 40, not going to come there, and again, that is going to be a punt. So 19, 4 plays, 14 yards. They get up to the 39-yard line. And it has been that kind of day for the Huskies. Just dominated up front. So first drive of the fourth quarter is going to end in a punt. UConn. All right, 3D on the punt, and that will be a good punt, a 44-yarder. So that's going to go all the way down, pushes Michigan back all the way down to the 17-yard line, and is 0 on the punt return. And 0 on the punt return is going to go to the team punt return chart. So we'll roll this one more time, and you see here Michigan's punt returns are there, and those represent, again, team-specific potential big plays, and that is going to be a great one, a 25-yard punt return for the Wolverines. So that gets the ball all the way up to their own 42-yard line where they will take over and their first drive of the fourth quarter. From the 42, all right, Wolverines, and again, they're still on the +8. They want one more drive to salt this away, and I forgot to add the scores here. 42-7, fourth quarter, and that is going to be 18, another successful drive for the Wolverines. So from the 42, look at a 4 here. That is going to be 4 plays, 39 yards. That takes it down to the 19. And the 2D6 is a 4. So their down and distance situation as we jump into play-by-play mode will be 2nd down and 8 from the 19, and Michigan looking to pile on to the Huskies here, and 2nd 8, it's going to be a run play. They are content to just grind the ball out on the ground. And 14, that's going to be 2-star column. 15, the ball carrier is Corum. So his 8th carry in play-by-play mode, and an 8 on the 2-star column is going to be a 9-yard gain. So Michigan slicing up the Husky defense. That gets it down to the 10. The 3rd and 1 there, and UConn, unless they can get a stuff again. Well, 62, and 62 on the +8 would be a defense +1, and again, UConn sitting on the run. That makes it a defense +2. So this is going to come off the Husky chart. Roll of 7, and no stuff this time. They give up 2 yards, and that's enough to get the 1st down, and once again, Corum, the ball carrier. So he gets credit for 2 more yards gained, and Michigan has a 1st and goal at the 8. McNamara up. Harbaugh gets the play in. It's going to be another running play, shocker. And 45, that's going to be an offense 1 category. 19, mixing it up, it's going to be Edwards here on the carry. So 6 on that, and that's going to be a 5-yard gain down to the 3. 2nd down and goal from the 3. And Edwards, his 1st carry in play-by-play mode. We haven't had a 0 column result yet because Michigan is just that much better up front. So we haven't had a chance to talk about the yardage adjustment and play-by-play. But if we don't get to see that, I'll go ahead and cover it later. 1st down, going to be another running play, and Haskins will be the ball carrier, 45. And 45, once again, will be an offensive +1, a roll of 5. And that's going to be a touchdown. So from 3 yards out, Haskins takes it in. And that's his 3rd score of the game, 2 rushing and 1 passing. And Michigan now continues to pile it on. We will enter a TD there. And over here in the rushing column, I should just tab because I have the cells protected. Or just click on it. His 2nd touchdown rushing and extra point is up and good. So Michigan opens the lead up to 42 or 49-7 here in the 4th quarter. And as you would expect, a rout of the UConn Huskies. UConn set to start their 2nd drive of the 4th quarter. After this drive, each team will have 1 left, and that will be ball game. All right, Michigan kicking it off, and 6A, that is going to get down to the goal line, so UConn will have a return. And UConn's kick return team, again, is a B. So 1B from the goal line, and that's only going to be a 12-yard return. They should have let that go into the end zone as Michigan covers it up, and UConn will start their simulated portion of the drive from the 12. And you can see here how the yards are just getting out of control. Michigan heading for a 600-yard total offense day against the hapless Husky defense. 65, they just missed a successful drive again. That's twice they've hit 65. And 10, it's going to be a little bit better for the stats. It's going to be 6 plays, 20 yards. So that gets up to the 32-yard line. So 6 plays, 20, and you will enter once again a punt. And UConn, they're not going to crack 200 yards total offense. So just a thorough domination. And I did pick that on purpose so we get a fun little blowout, I guess. All right, UConn into punt, and again, their punting team is a D. So 6D here, and that is going to be a 35-yard punt. So that lands down at the 33-yard line of the Wolverines, and 0, we're going to the Wolverines team-specific punt return chart once again.
And a deuce there, and 2 is going to be another big punt return, 26 yards. So that takes it all the way down to the UConn 41, so we'll jump right into play-by-play mode there. And you can document drives starting in plus territory, again, simply by adding any symbol you want. I'll just go, a plus to designate that's where they took the ball over. All right, so Michigan will be in play-by-play mode, and we're going to go ahead and put subs in. This is Michigan's last drive of the game. UConn will get one after this. So here's how that works. Simply adjust Michigan's defensive ratings and offensive drive ratings down to 9. And again, it's by 3. And for UConn, it's now going to be a -5 and -6 on their drive totals, and Michigan, or on their play-by-play totals, sorry, Michigan 5 and 3. So still doesn't make it ideal, but it definitely makes it better for the Huskies here. And of course, we'll still use the ball carriers listed on the chart. And again, if you wanted to, you could say that McCarthy was the bell cow here, or Henning. Again, a personal choice, up to you. It's going to be a running play, obviously. And 16, and now we're only on the +5 chart for the drive chart. 16, that's still +2. And ball carrier there, and again, we'll just continue to use the starters and rub it in a little bit. It's going to be Corum. So 10 play-by-play carries for him, and at 8 on the +2 is going to be a 9-yard run. So shredding the UConn defense is going to be a 2nd down and 1 from the 22-yard line. McNamara brings the Wolverines up, and we can just say they had their backup line in 62. And 62 +5 is going to be a defensive plus. So Haskins, the ball carrier, and you will go 4 on the defensive plus column here. And again, UConn's defense not very good. They still give up some yardage when their defense has control. So 1st and 10 after a 3-yard run by Haskins. And 13 play-by-play carries for him now, as Wolverines just continue to grind the clock down and grind down the UConn Huskies. Possible penalty here, 9 is going to be a long pass. So Harbaugh running a little play action here up big. Probably would not be beneath him. 33 and 33 +3 on the pass is going to be off the offensive 1-star column here on the long pass. And the result on that 6 is going to be a 15-yard gain and a possible interception. So let's first, we'll resolve the penalty. Well, first let's resolve the interception. So the intended receiver there is going to be Clarcius. So 15-yard gain. Now interception-wise, again, McNamara is a 1 to 8, and UConn's adjustment is a 0, so 8 or less. And that is not picked off. So that is going to be a 15-yard completion, but we have a penalty too, 7 or less, and no penalty. And I actually said Clarcius, I meant Ali. So 15-yard catch for Ali, and that's his 2nd catch in play-by-play mode. 2 for 22. You can see it adjusted the completion up here. I did not have to add anything in this area because that's only for incompletions. So that is a 15-yard strike down to the 14, 1st and 10, and Michigan. They want to put 56 on the Huskies. Here we go. It's going to be a running play, and 42. 42 will be an offensive +1, and again, Haskins, ball carrier, roll of 6, and that's going to be a 5-yard gain. Gets it down to the 9-yard line. 2nd down and 5 for the Huskies. And once again, enter the 5 there. Second down, another run call, and this one is going to be Haskins again. So he is getting a hefty workload here, and 53, that's going to be a little bit better for UConn. That comes out of the 0 or the stalemate column, and I'm glad because now I can show you the run adjustment. So Haskins, he has no adjustment to the result here. If Corum had been the ball carrier, we would have added a +2 to anything that comes out of this column. Conversely, McNamara is a -4, so he would have got -4 to whatever happens on this column. And that is just to, again, give individual ball carriers closer to their actual statistics in play-by-play mode, and it's also taken into account in the simulated stats portion. So again, irrelevant here since Haskins is no adjustment. It's going to be a 5-yard gain. It's going to be another 1st down, 1st and goal at the 4. Harbaugh, let's see if he'll send some backups in. He will not. It's going to be another run play and possible penalty. So 14, Corum would be the ball carrier, and this would be out of the +2 column, and that will be a touchdown. That was good for 6 yards. He only needs 3, unless it's 7 or less. And 16, nope, that is a touchdown. So Corum scampers into the end zone on a 3-yard jaunt, and that is going to be his 2nd touchdown on the ground today, or 3rd actually on the ground today, so we'll give him his 3rd there. And extra point, and UConn will get one more drive after this, and then we are out of here. Michigan makes it 56-7. And guys, the reason I do not have the scoreboards interacting and carrying data over, I technically could do that, but because some people might just play quick play mode, some people might just play straight play-by-play mode, I wanted to give the option to have to fill in both, basically, if that makes sense. So Michigan has scored, and UConn mercifully are going to get the kickoff and try and get a little bit of their dignity back. Trailing 56-7, Wolverines boot that. And 8B is going to be down to the 5-yard line, so UConn with a chance to get a better return on this one. Unfortunately, though, their return team is not super. 3D on the kickoff return, and that is going to be a 12-yard return again. So up to the 17-yard line. And that's where they will start their final drive of the game. All right, here we go. And it just doesn't get any better for UConn. 53. That's going to be a punt. It's going to be 4 plays, 10 yards, and they're just going to be happy to get out of here. Effectively, that is the ball game. So Wolverines gave up 1 scoring drive and then 8 punts and a fumble. Michigan turned the ball over once. I actually forgot to add that time they started in the at the UConn plus territory, but regardless, let me just add that in. Hold on. That was in play-by-play mode, so it actually technically doesn't matter for stats, so I'm not going to put that in. We know they scored there. All right, so that's the ball game, and our final score is Wolverines 56, UConn 7, and again, just for aesthetic purposes, both scorecards. Now let's go do our final stats. So again, all we have to do for the end of the game, I already did this for halftime, is just make any additional adjustments here. And I forgot to mention too earlier, when you're playing hybrid or simulated, you will take, and we'll use Michigan's, you will enter the letter grades here by each ball carrier and each receiver. put that in this first column here, and then the yardage adjustments, which I talked about. Again, Haskins, no adjustment, so that's a 0. Corum 2, McNamara -4, etc., etc. Same thing for receivers. And that, again, gets stats, simulated stats in line with what they actually did. So let's wrap this piece up now. So in simulated, just simulated portions of the drive, and again, we've already factored in the big play from Haskins earlier. So we're going to add, this will be 13, okay, 13 carries, just, and this is again just simulated because we have to add in the big play portion. 64 plus 25 would be 89. And if you're wondering why I did that, for the game he had 12 carries, 64 yards, a simulated portion, and then the one big play for 25 yards, so we add an extra carry and add 25 more yards. Okay, so that's how that works. Corum, 6 carries for 44 yards. No change here, no change here, no change here. Those two, again, are the bell cows of the Michigan offense. And now we need to balance. So we get down here and we see our carries are balanced. Our yardage is not. And our balanced yardage for Haskins would be 13 carries, 82 yards. So we will make that adjustment. Zeros here, we are balanced. Okay. Receiving. No big pass plays to worry about, and McNamara in simulated portion was 13 of 22. And you can see here a couple of touchdowns that carried over. So this is actually going to be adjusted now, the 1 for 28. And honestly, you should do the stats at the end of the ball game, to be quite honest. I put them in at halftime just so we'd have something to reference. And again, they did not have to throw the ball that much. It was a ground-heavy attack. And adjustments are already taken into account here. All right, so that's where we end up. Now, again, we have, we're unbalanced here. So what you're going to do in this scenario is we have basically 55 yards. So we're going to change this 2 to 63, which we're prompted to by this yellow box. And that gives us 1 carry for 20 yards we still have to assign. So we're going to give that to the next prolific receiver, J, as of course earlier in the alphabet than K. So the receiver that will get that catch will be Ali. So you'll add 1 more catch for Ali, 2 and 43 yards. Sometimes with passing it's a little bit more, but it again all adds out or balances out in the wash. And you see down here, this just means we have to take a catch away from somebody. And we are completely balanced. All right, zeros there, zeros here, everything is good. So again, a little bit of fudging around when you're using simulated play, but it's still, as you can see, very easy to get the final stats done. So let's go over the end. Let's go over UConn first. We'll get their stats squared away. So for Carter in simulated portion, A for 27, they had no big plays or running the ball. Mensa 6 for 14 in his simulated portion. 4 for 6 for Krajewski, and then the other runners, Famashan, I guess. I honestly do not know how to pronounce that. I did not really follow UConn football. All right, so we have down here, you can see we're not balanced. We need to get rid of a carry and 6 yards. So we will take that from Carter, and 7 for 21. Zeros here, so we're balanced, and 7 to 21 matches what his total should be. So easy as that. And for receptions now, sorry about that. 2 for 29, 2 for 17. This turns out to be 1 for 10, 2 for 11 here. 1 for 5 is our final number, 1 for 7, 1 for 7, 1 for 8, and whoops, 1 for 8, 1 for 6. And you can see that balances us in terms of receptions. We have 11 yards we have to get rid of. And unfortunately, that is going to come off of Marion's numbers. So he's 2 for 18 in simulated mode. Everything again balances, and we are good there. So again, the play-by-play stats are already pulled in to this area here. And in play-by-play, again, Krajewski only had one. I mean, they only had 3 opportunities to get into play-by-play mode, so their stats aren't going to change that much. So on the day, 7 carries for 21 yards for Carter, 7 carries for 30 and a touchdown for Mensah, 5 for 9 for Krajewski, Famachan 1 for 2, Burns 1 for 3, and our receptions you can see here. Krajewski on the day, 13 for 22, 93 yards, 1 touchdown. Let's check out Michigan. Big day for Haskins, 28 carries for 167 yards. Corum joined him in the Century Club, 17 for 115. McNamara, a paltry 2 for 3. He's not a running quarterback. Edwards, 2 for 10. McCarthy, 2 for 10. And receiving-wise, Johnson 2 for 63. Wilson 1 for 67. Ali, adding in his play-by-play, of course, 4 for 65. Sanders-Stell, 1 for 25. Edwards, 1 for 25. Schoonmaker, 1 for 22. Corum, 1 for 19. Haskins, 2 for 37. And McNamara, 13 for 22 on the day. 283 yards. Shredded the Huskies downfield. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And we will go back to the play-by-play tab once again. They did not quite get their 600 yards of total offense, but still a very overpowering day. UConn, 43 plays, 158 yards. Michigan, 73 for 588 yards. So that's it, guys. That is a half of football using the Excel helper. And again, the Excel helper, if you do not have Excel because you don't want to pay for a subscription, I don't have it. This is just an old copy that I've been able to transfer over to computers. Go to Google Drives. Google Drives has a free Excel version which will work and open our Excel helper, so that will be available for everyone. And again, thank you for the heads up on that to Eric Chavez, friend of the channel. Appreciate it, my friend. So that's it. Any questions, leave them in the comments section. And thank you for joining us. Glory Days College Football coming to you via PDF release. And again, just to reiterate why PDF only at this point in time, I have a backlog in getting game boxes for my supplier. My printer, he's still... on my last Glory Days boxing print order, he ran out of the type of print paper I use, which is 130 cardstock or 130 pound cardstock, the most durable cardstock available. And the sheets that he uses to print, which are 11 by 17, 130, he has a back order on that, so I don't even get the rest of my last order of fighters until middle of this week. So, and he also has had toner issues with Xerox. So yeah, supply chain issues. You know, and rather than make people wait, just better at this point to release it via PDF. And again, it's got a very small footprint. These cards in the PDF format fit 3 to a page on an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So super easy to print and cut. Take them to Office Max, wherever, and they can print them out on 110 cardstock. And it's just, again, 2 cuts, and you have 3 teams per page. And of course, all the charts and whatnot come with it. The Excel helper, of course, you will get also in that package. And again, download that or open that on your desktop. And if you do not have Excel, get Google Drive, and you'll be able to access it that way. So look for this release coming at the end of this upcoming week. And appreciate everyone checking it out. If you like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications. We'll get back once this releases, and I move on to rating the 2021 college season, and also starting work on the Glory Days Boxing fictional set, which a few people have been waiting for. I'll also be doing some more video content of other games that we've had on the channel in the past, like field day baseball and some payoff pitch, etc., and some Glory Days boxing too. So I hope you all have a great Sunday and have had a great weekend. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming. Take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you later.